Being honest. My goodness. You know, there's so many dishonest people out there in our world, our chaotic world. So much misery and suffering, and I'm going to go over a good example of it, especially for this particular stream. Unbelievable. Alright, so in a world overflowing with great dishonor, ungratefulness, unhappiness, misery, mental and emotional suffering, is anyone honest these days? I mean, it's one thing to tell a white lie to protect someone, or maybe it's nobody else's business. So, insert filler. That's okay. But for the most part, being an honest person, that should come naturally. You shouldn't have the urge to lie, and especially lie about other people and the work that they do. Such is an example for today, which I'm going to give a big example, and then at the very end, I'll tell you the benefits of being honest. So stay tuned. All right. So we have ethics, honesty, and integrity. Let's see, and respect. Very important in today's world. It's almost like there's a lack of there's a lack of respect on and offline these days, but mostly online, of course. In the zoo, the circus. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Thomas Jefferson opening up this stream with honesty is the first chapter in the Book of Wisdom. And there's a particular quote-unquote auditor out there who really needs to read this because he started a lie about my products, which I'm going to get into. I'm not going to name him because that's what he wants. A really miserable clown out there who has no life, but he did take a stab at me, but he didn't get me in his dreams. Remember this. Honesty is the first chapter because he claims to be an auditor, but yet he forgets stuff like this from the founding fathers, right? These are people who pretend to care about the Constitution, yada yada. Honesty is the first chapter in the Book of Wisdom. So obviously the guy who insulted me lacks wisdom. Got it? It's very important. It's always very important to be honest, especially with one's true intentions. Liars can never keep their story straight, so always remember to be honest, right? It's always been this way. Nothing new to see here so far. Alright, so honesty, let's take a deeper look, refers to a facet of moral character and connotes positive and virtuous attributes such as integrity, truthfulness, big word right there, straightforwardness, along with the absence of lying, cheating, theft, etc. Honesty also involves being trustworthy, loyal, and fair and sincere. Let us proceed, because this is why today I'm going to go over a typical form of accusation that unfortunately some people still continue to use incorrectly to this day. It's a very typical form, especially if you have a business product to sell. You'll know what I mean. Here we go. The snake oil salesman. Recently, I've been accused by a loser out there. He knows who he is because he's obsessed with me. He thinks about me 24/7. But regardless, that I'm a snake oil salesman. Now, he hasn't bought my products, but of course he's going to judge, right? We'll get all into it, the psychology behind it. Of course, losers are going to say that because they don't like me. They don't like my success. They don't like my positivity. And they have nothing to offer to the world. Nothing. Literally nothing positive, nothing constructive. So, of course, they're going to be haters, right? We'll get into that. Now, snake oil, if you didn't know, is actually an effective anti-inflammatory agent. For those of you guys who don't know. So the classic snake oil salesman accusation, it's often misused by either competitors or by people who simply don't like you or your product. The haters, right? It was a real thing back then. All right, so don't judge something you haven't experienced. Right? I mean, if you never had a Pepsi, you only had Coca-Cola, well, you can't judge Pepsi just because you call it Coke. No, it's a Pepsi. It has a different taste, right? So if somebody's going to come up and say, man, this Pepsi's better than Coca-Cola, you got to try it. And you're going to be like, no, it's not. Have you tried it? So, who's correct in this scenario? The guy who says, "This is great, you should try it," or the guy who hasn't tried it and says, "No, Coke is the best. That Pepsi is just snake oil." Are you stupid? Seriously, you got to ask yourself that, right? The problem is those who never tried my products, my book and movie, right, can easily tell lies. However, such people are always angry and unhappy and miserable losers. That's just a fact. Just like the Coke and Pepsi, example, it's the same scenario. It's like, how can you judge something that you haven't bought and experienced for yourself? You know how many fraudulent reviews we would have if a game reviewer or a movie reviewer or a book reviewer, any reviewer out there says, "Oh, it was horrible," and they didn't even rent it, they didn't buy it, they didn't try it. Imagine hotel reviews, you name it, car reviews, safety reviews. We wouldn't be able to have high quality products if it's just, are you no, if you haven't tried it, you know nothing about it. End of story, right? I would never review something that I haven't tried, or it's not overly easy to understand. I mean, because for example, First Amendment auditing, that's very easy to understand. It would be very difficult to you would have to fake a video in order to be labeled as a fraud, as they call them, frauditors, which I don't like saying because everything's auditing, unless it's just all fake. Absolutely. But let's go ahead and move on, and let's just move on. So in traditional Chinese medicine, snake oil was used to relieve pain and inflammation and treat arthritis and bursitis. This is due to the high omega-3 fatty acid content of Chinese water snakes, which, when used appropriately, can work as an anti-inflammatory. Okay, this is a fact. So the snake oil itself is not a lie, as many people, they misuse this term, this label, snake oil salesman, right? Well, the snake oil was not the lie. It's the imitation of this oil. Just like today, vitamin E oil, there's a lot of imitations. Olive oil, there's a lot of imitations. It's not even olive oil. And yada, so forth and so forth. You're always going to have your copycats that are providing a fraudulent product. Obviously, they're going to be discovered very rapidly, right? They have nothing to offer because they know that it's a fraudulent product. So such losers, the haters, for my products who never tried them, they're just going to, be whining from their couch that they never leave. Such losers are ignorant to the fact that snake oil was proven to be used to relieve pain and inflammation, along with other important uses. The problem back then, as I just were the many, much expected imitators, who of course provided a similar looking fraudulent product. So a lot of people, they think, oh, snake oil. No, it was a real product that works. And that's why they say, oh, it cures everything, because they were so impressed by its, you can imagine, inflammation is a big deal. And of course they're going to be like, oh, it cures everything, right? But then of course you're going to have imitators because they want that money, right? So this is look, the term snake oil came from a product that you ingest and it either works or it doesn't work. But my products have nothing to do with ingestion. You're actually digesting, if anything, what you're reading and what you're seeing on a screen. So that's easy. That's not like a product that you ingest. This is a whole different department. So, for somebody to call a book snake oil or a movie / online video course of snake oil, that makes absolutely no sense at all. That's one of the most retarded things that I've ever heard. Honestly, it's not just because it's dealing with my products, because it's retarded because they're misusing the term snake oil 2 times. The first time is comparing it to a book when snake oil is a product that you ingest. And then comparing it to an online video course / movie. Have you ever heard somebody call a movie snake oil? No, Either the movie was good or it was bad, but there's no such thing as a fraudulent movie or a fraudulent book. The book has information that you read, and the movie has information that you see visually. I mean, this is how retarded some of these people are out there. I never thought I'd see this before in my life. How could you call a book snake oil? How could you call a movie snake oil? So every YouTube content creator out there, you're saying that a lot of them are snake oil salesmen if they have a product to sell, like their merchandise, how is a sweater snake oil? How is a mug snake oil? How is a book or a movie something that somebody produces? See, so they're misusing, and then the second way they're misusing snake oil is calling me a snake oil salesman. I'm providing free content that you can immediately judge on the spot right here, right now. In multiple series. I got about 9 series, actually 10, going on right now. So you can't call a book or an audio video presentation snake oil. That's got to be from the most retarded mind I can possibly imagine. It's just absolutely horrendous. Like, these people are most likely high school dropouts. I can't imagine, or middle school for that matter. Nothing against anybody who had to drop out for other reasons, but I'm talking about mentally challenged people, and you know which way I'm talking about, who actually misuse terms like this, labels like these. And never did I say that my products cure all, right? I said you will have guaranteed success if you follow the instructions, which I'll get into. So, snake oil salesmen, the pretenders back then, not the real snake oil, by the way, they were going to say this cures all, but it's something, once again, that you ingest and you expect the results. Unfortunately, that's going to be a placebo effect at best. Understand? So please, if you're thinking about using this label on anybody, you're going to make yourself look very ridiculous and embarrassed, and you should be ashamed of yourself when you misuse this. This is a very extreme label to people with actual products that you ingest. Not books, not movies, not magazines, not even clothes that you buy in a store. Or soap bars, well, actually soap bars, if they don't do a good job cleaning, but all of them have saponasis, so they're gonna clean you some way or another. But I can't imagine selling a fraudulent soap bar. But it could be fraudulent if the ingredients aren't really in there and they put them on the ingredients list, but they have to go through approval. So, anyways, okay, let's go ahead and proceed here. I just really had to nail that point home. These people are extremely ignorant who misuse. I didn't want to say it, but from the haters version who misuse this label, it's just absolutely unbelievably ignorant. However, people eventually figured out which products were real back then and which ones were not. The truth will eventually speak for itself. I've had so many people say, thank you so much for your advice. I love your book. I learned so much. I watched your movie. It's fantastic. This is going to help so many people. How is that fraudulent? Because you don't like me, you don't like the way I sound, you don't like the way I look, you don't like my products because you have no products of your own, so it's jealousy and envy. That's the truth, and I'm here speaking the truth. If the shoe fits, I'm okay with people not liking me, but you have to kindly move on, skedaddle. Go try to do something minimally productive with your life, because obviously you're not in the productive mode, and I don't think you'll ever be. That's a loser's mentality, going around hating people, especially a veteran. It's like with 2 deployments, it's like, who do you think you're speaking to? Besides my veteran status, I do have a 4-year college degree. Why would I turn to being a fraud? How could I possibly do that when a book, that would be very difficult to do in a book form and a movie form. That's not even possible. I would have to literally put a title and then write about something that's completely not even about the title. There's only good books and bad books and good movies and bad movies, online courses. But a fraudulent one, just like I said with auditing, the auditing community, there's good auditors and there's bad auditors. Unfortunately, 90 something percent are horrendous, involved in a circus. There's only a few good auditors who actually are professional. But to call auditors snake oil salesmen, see how stupid that sounds? They're not. They're not selling anything. Actually, they are. They're making money through by making videos. But it still sounds stupid. It just doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to an author, a movie maker, an auditor. It doesn't. Snake oil is very specific to a product, once again, that you ingest and you expect a certain result. That's it. There's no other application, snake oil. That's it. So it's just so crazy. All right. So let's go ahead and move on here. I always mention that it's always up to you to follow everything I advise in my book, movie, and free content. This is free content. In order to improve your relationship, it's up to you. Okay? Like, I can give you advice on what other people do, how to clean your house, the feng shui, how to present things in your house, how to do this, how to do that, all the do-it-yourselves, right? They can't do it for you, people. They're showing you how to do it. They're telling you, they're describing you how to do it because they're professionals. And even if they're not professionals, it's advice, take it or leave it. But that doesn't mean that they don't know how to do something. The results are right there. Either take it or leave it. But those who can't take it or leave it, those are the upset haters, right? They're jealous because you have something to teach and they don't like that. Because it makes them look stupid. So then they show their ignorance by saying stupid things like this. It shows, it makes them, they dig a deeper hole for themselves when they misuse labels like this. So I represent the truth. I can't say the same for my haters. They know that they're telling lies because they don't like me nor my success. So they envy and they have extreme jealousy for me. I mean, they're my number one fans. What can I say? All right. So let's go ahead and move on here. Love never fails. Isn't that the truth? Except for the haters, because obviously they have no love in their life. When you follow everything I advise, you will see positive results, whether it's the book or my movie, online video course, thus proving the effectiveness of my products and my expertise. So once again, you can't judge it if you haven't tried it, or if you're incapable of understanding what it is that I am selling and what I'm presenting. That's another thing. The mental capacity and ability of my haters, it's not there. There's no sign of intelligence. They're just stuck in the hate mode. They're not even angry at me. They're angry at other things offline in their lives, their miserable lives. They just want to use me as a punching bag. Well, guess what? It's not going to work because I'm nobody's punching bag. You're just mad at me because I have success and you don't. End of story. That's just, and it doesn't have to be me. It could be anybody else. I can only imagine how many other people that they go after, online or offline. But, thankfully it's just a few, losers out there who think like this. But I wanted to use it for this stream because being honest is so important in this world of dishonesty, especially with lots of, the cancel culture and the gender war. There's lots of lies being shot out there propaganda style. And just people just fall into it. Like they join the hater bus, the hater wagon. Or the hype wagon. They don't even think about what it is they're following or who they're listening to. Like they have zero discernment capability. All right, so that's when I will earn your complete trust, by the way. When you finally begin to realize just how powerful and life-changing my products are. But you have to be into my products. If you didn't watch my presentation through video format on my online course, what I call my movie, you can't say anything about it. And if you haven't read my book at all, you can't say anything about it. I'm talking about really read it. So, the difference between trust and truth, they're very related. You can't have trust without truth. That's one of the main benefits of being honest. So, my products pretty much speak for themselves and my free content speaks for itself. I don't have to really justify anything. However, I can only give you advice with my book, movie, and free content, okay? It's up to you, once again, to follow what I advise and make it happen. Like the famous saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Now try to lead, let's see, a serpent to the water and have them drink, something that doesn't make sense, right? Because that's what these haters are. They try to be these snakes in the grass. You can't even lead them. They're already out of control. They just want to swallow things, right? That's all they're about. There's nothing productive about them. But, I can't even lead them to the water and drink because there's no ears. So let's go ahead and move on. This is the problem with those who have never tried my products. Anyone can do what they do, which is literally doing nothing but tell lies. So don't criticize what you can't understand. It's easy to lie. Anybody can lie. Anybody can destroy something. That's too easy, But can you produce something that's worthwhile, that's meaningful, that's useful? Can you do what I do? How can you criticize what you don't understand and what you're incapable of doing? So, all right, let's go ahead and solidify this point with haters. Having anger towards everyone reaching success. These are the trolls online. These are the lowlives. Sorry that I have to bring them into this stream, but they have everything to do with being honest. So I'm going to start with the clowns, and I'm going to end with offline content for the offline world, your real world, right? Let's go ahead and move on here. Let me just say this. Essentially, such people are simply known as haters, right? Full of anger, unhappiness, laziness, jealousy, envy, and of course, endless, obvious misery. Remember that. So, let's go ahead and talk about myself a little bit. Being honest, as always. Becoming a life coach was the best decision of my life. And I'm enjoying every moment of it, each and every day. It's my true calling. I feel like it's truly my life's calling. So here, for example, you have other relationships coaches, or life coaches. You have right here 3 inside secrets that great relationship coaches know. And believe it or not, I've actually tried collaborating with other relationship coaches, but most of them, they want to stay in their own world. And I'm like, that's fine. So just so you know, if in case you're thinking about becoming one day, it's not the easiest. It's easy in some ways, but it's more challenging in other ways. All right, let's go ahead and proceed. The great thing is, I didn't need any certification to become a life coach, similar to other non-certified professions. Like auditing, for example. You want to go cop watching, go cop watching. You don't need a degree or certification to do so. But those people are demanding respect without needing certification. Well, the same works with the life coach or a housewife. And there's lots of other professions that don't require certifications. I do have a bachelor's degree in business management, but it's not required to do what I do. It's just an extra credential. I am a U.S. Army veteran who deployed twice, and I have a lot to offer as a former intelligence analyst soldier and contractor, and also worked in counterintelligence screening. So I have a lot to offer with my expertise as a martial artist, as a bodybuilder. You don't need to go get certified as a bodybuilder unless you're going to go compete on stage. And also, as a martial artist, unless you want to go get your belt ranking system, but you can practice martial arts or any sport without certifications, and you could be really good at it. So that's driving that point home. There's a lot of professions that don't require certifications or even degrees. But as long as you're really good at it, you can make a living and you can make it large. Absolutely. Here's a relationship advisor. I will help you with your dating and relationship life. Yeah, you most likely might have to pay her for that. I'm here doing it pro bono, for free. Imagine that. Specializing in relationships is what I'm best at, to advise positive, productive, loving people who want to better their lives. That's the key word here. You want. Because that's why there's haters out there. They don't want to better their lives. They're happy being miserable and just absolutely pathetic on and offline. They like that. They enjoy that because that's their miserable world. That they convince themselves, this is the living in denial example, that they're happy when they're not. They'll even laugh and smile, but you could take a look, really close look into their eyes. You can see just how miserable they are. And then they use curse words all the time. And then when they go offline, you don't even know what happens. They could be abusing their wife, abusing, their kids. We have no idea how they behave offline. But these people, are truly miserable. Because if they go online to just hate and hate and hate, and they're desperate for attention, you know what they're about. All right. So, it's a growing profession that requires plenty of wisdom, intelligence, creativity, sincerity, and a real heart of gold, being a life coach or relationship coach. I'll tell you that much. It's much more than you think. So go ahead and do your own presentations like I do if you think that, you're better than me, because I'm not trying to be better than anybody. But unfortunately, we live in a satanic world where the haters, they're so jealous and envious of me. So that, okay, if you think you could do a better job, go do it yourself. I'm waiting. Exactly. You're not going to do anything because you don't do anything productive. You have no heart. You have no soul. It's just what, You guys heard about haters online for years. I don't even need to explain it. All right, let me go ahead and move on here. All right. So the truth is that coaching is still an unregulated industry, and that's why I jumped on it too. I'm like, hey, I like this industry. This is a perfect fit for myself. You do not need a life coach degree for career coaching, but you certainly need to know what you are signing up for. Yeah, because the haters will come with the package. And the degree will not necessarily get you either the skills or the training to become a life coach. It's just like sports, people. You can't go get a degree in soccer or martial arts. Martial arts, you can go get your belts, but I've seen so many black belts where, I could just tear them apart in a real fight. But that's not what the martial arts is about. It's not about fighting. It's about learning how to not fight. And that applies to everything in life. 100% applicable. Stay out of trouble. So unfortunately, you have haters who are looking for trouble. They're troublemakers. So I'm a trouble ender. I'm a problem solver. And to solve the problem online, you just smash that block button, ignore them because they want your attention, done deal. Offline, though, it's a bit trickier. You got to take extra steps, and you do have to confront them eventually, face to face, or with the police. It depends. So it's challenging, just like any other profession, which is why you must always maintain the highest level of knowledge, energy, and passion. I'll tell you that much if you're thinking about being a life coach one day. It's not a profession for anybody because you must be the perfect candidate with plenty of knowledge and originality, that's a key word, to offer the world. So right here, lastly, certifications are no guarantee of the qualitative excellence of a coach. Exactly, just like a black belt for a martial artist, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to win a fight. No, that they can have a white belt with no other advanced belts, go in the ring and completely just destroy a black belt. But once again, that's not what the martial arts are about. And nor am I here competing with other life coaches. Notice how I'm not bashing or criticizing other life coaches out there. I do my own thing. I maintain my own originality. And that's mostly the reason why they don't want to collaborate with other coaches, because they know they're going to run into differences, and so they just kindly mind their own business. You'll notice, I haven't seen one life coach collaborate with another life coach, especially who specializes in relationships. I have never seen the dynamic duo, trio, no collaborations. It's mighty rare out there. You'd be hard-pressed to find an example, and if you do, that's very few, a case in a very few cases. So, it's just like soccer players. Well, same thing. They want to be the goal scorer. They don't want to share the glory with others, which is really anti-teamwork, not a good attitude. So, let's go ahead and move on here. Okay, so honesty. Once again, this is our main topic. I gotta say again about life coaching. It's a profession that requires being honest with your readers, your listeners, and your viewers. You have to have great presentation and elaboration because these are a must. Presentation and elaboration, because I can just go ahead and just pull stuff and just repeat it, and then, oh, okay, what do I do with that? Right? You need to elaborate what you're presenting constantly. You need to give explanations, examples, for example, right? You have to give so many examples and similarities, everything. You have to cover every angle of every topic. That's really the key there. So great knowledge is a must. So the haters, for example, they have no knowledge of even the basics, how a real relationship functions. That's why they're failures offline. So they have nothing to offer online. And they're not being honest with themselves, being haters, because they're not telling the truth. Instead of hating, they should come out and say, I need help. Help me. Because I'm miserable. I need help. They won't do it. All right, so no legacy is so rich as honesty, William Shakespeare. Honesty is all about taking great pride in the positive and productive things you do. There are many benefits of being honest, okay? And we're going to go over those very soon here. Let's take a look at another quote from William Faulkner. Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty and truth and compassion against injustice, aka haters, and lying, aka haters, and greed. Most First Amendment auditors, 90-something% of them, if people all over the world would do this, it would change the earth. Absolutely. Where did the honor go? The black and white days, there used to be tons of honor. That's where the term gentleman came in. Gentleman. But it wasn't a perfect world, but it was a lot better than today's, I'll tell you that. Nowadays, you have, oh my goodness, anything negative you can imagine. And then we have this silly online world where it's supposed to be an opportunity, not a circus, being misused like crazy. Like, for example, the snake oil salesman example. These guys back then in the black and white days would laugh their butts off if they heard that. How can someone say snake oil salesman to a book or an online video course? These guys would be just laughing like crazy. All of them. They would be like, that's the type of people we have to look forward to in the future? Those types of retards? That's crazy, man. They would be like very upset, actually. Because they're wondering what the future was going to be like. And here we are in the future, not really evolving that much. I'm doing my best to help people evolve. I'll give you that much. So powerful people such as myself, yes, myself, and others, I'm not the only one, will always have extremely ignorant, negative, evil people who know nothing but anger and misery. Got it? The truth is, such sad people are desperate for attention and will do anything, including lying and hating, to cope with their extreme loneliness. Yes, these are very lonely people. That's the truth. And there's so many of them that you really got to use the magnifying lens here. Some of them, though, you don't need a magnifying lens. They're so loud and just crazy, insane, that you're like, yep. And, they have hundreds and hundreds of haters of their own, which aren't really haters. They're just pointing out the fact that, just how despicable the hater is, the actual troll in question. The person who is trying to hate on others with real success. So, yeah, everybody's going to be calling out the real culprits here. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, so now we're at the part of the stream where you get to... That's a great example, by the way. My haters is a great example of being dishonest. So now I'm going to tell you the benefits of being honest. All right. Being honest, always telling the truth, by the way, unlike the miserable haters and liars out there. When you are honest, you can expect these 8 benefits. Let's just go over them. You'll be known as a real person. Your conscience will breathe easier. You create the cornerstone of integrity. You will expand your possibilities. So you guys can go ahead and pause the screen and read the rest of it there. I just wanted to toss that into the stream, so I'm not going to read it all because it's going to be too long of a stream, but go ahead and pause it and read it for yourself. You won't find any qualities that apply to haters in this 8 bullet list here. Let's go ahead and move on to the next part. So, always be an honest person, by the way. Don't worry, haters will come with the package. Just keep enjoying Whatever you're most passionate about. Let's go ahead and read the last four here. Well, the last five, it looks like. Okay, another benefit of being honest, you will show proof of your character. Your life will ease up. Your perspective becomes more powerful. You create trust and reliability. There you go. How could you live as a fraud and at the same time create trust and reliability? The snake oil salesman misused label, right? That doesn't make any sense because I already have many people who trust and rely on my advice. And now they rely on themselves with the new knowledge that they've gained. That's not snake oil. That's not imitation snake oil. Yeah, see, that's another thing that we should do. Instead of saying snake oil, you have to say imitation snake oil or fraudulent snake oil. That's where the ignorance really settles in, is with people who just say snake oil. No, you have to be very specific because snake oil does work, and it did work in the past as well as today. It's the imitation fraudulent versions who are desperate for money. Just like fake gold, fake jewelry, fake this and fake that. How can a book be fake if you can open and read it? How can an online video course be fake if you can sit down there and actually watch it and learn from it? Indisputably. It makes no sense whatsoever. So don't be stupid, people. Learn how to use these terms correctly. All right? And beware of those people who use these terms incorrectly, because you're dealing with a dishonest person who has no sense of honor whatsoever.